Hey everybody, it's CJ. I'm in my apartment uh, downtown Shreveport. I'm gonna move over here actually. I probably will look terrible in this blue light, but the city is behind me. I could raise this window up a little higher. Other arm, one arm, window raise, superpowers. Okay. Um, yeah. So, CJ Miller in Shreveport. Uh, Easter 2022, and I did nothing today. I thoroughly enjoyed a day of not doing a damn thing. If um, if I were supposed to remember some sort of Sabbath day and keep it holy, uh, whichever day that was, uh, it was definitely today. I didn't do a damn thing, and I'm so grateful. Uh, because yeah, we had a fun day yesterday. I had went to a kid's birthday party. Actually, turned out there were two or three kids there celebrating, but the week before that, I was celebrating birthdays with adults, myself mainly. But yeah, and then so yeah, but today's Easter, and thankfully it's almost over. And I'm so glad there wasn't like a lot of people doing a lot of anything. I think everybody was just, like, uh, we just need a day to really not do too much. What I did was I cut up a pork loin. It's on the stove now. So I'm slow cooking it. It's nighttime, so I mean it's like 9 o'clock at night. That's how long it took me to get going. In keeping with my diet, what I ate for a late lunch, four breaded chicken wing portions. That's literally less than two chicken wings because when I think of chicken wings, I eat the tips and everything. Uh, Actually, the tips of the chicken wing that people cut off, those are very flavorful. So if you make them at home, just kind of like fold them, turn them into a fourfold, and then brush them and cook them, uh, or fry them or whatever, because they're great. You know, uh, that's kind of like where you take the tip and you bend it back behind the wing of the chicken. Uh, so, but a lot of people don't do that anymore. A lot of people just kind of like cut that tip off or whatever. I think, hey, there's a lot of flavor there. So, yeah. So in my, it's been a hell of a pandemic, right? It's still going on, by the way. Um, my personal journey over this, shortly before the pandemic, I had been uh, given my um, adult, or maybe it's not adult anymore, but it was like type 2 diabetes, which is typically, formerly was thought of as adult onset, but now we have so many obese uh, teens and children that it's just, it's that. So, but what I did was I immediately, for a moment there, I was like panicked. Then I started to pray about it. I spent about a week grieving food, just a carelessness of food. Like I went to Wendy's, ate big huge baconator fries, had the big huge giant chocolate frosty. I mean, I ate whatever I wanted to eat for about 2 or 3 days just to kind of get it, basically just to burn myself out on food, right? And then I I'd heard my good friend, her name is Jana. She told me about uh, her embarking upon a ketogenic diet. And I'd done some looking, and I'm like, this really fits into what I love as a personal lifestyle, uh, which is, a lot of meats. And yes, I can sacrifice most of the frying, the deep fried stuff. I can do that, especially when it comes to chicken. I mean, I like chicken in a sauce, but I love it, just with a little bit of green herb, and I love the flavor naturally of meat, so I don't necessarily have to enhance it a lot. I did uh, decide to cut out all additional salts, and in most sweets, which I wasn't a big sweet eater anyway. It's just that I had gotten into the habit of, hey, let me have a a bag of chocolate around, and so I did not realize as I was walking around my apartment or whatever, when I went over and I picked up like a little thing of like one of those bite-sized chocolates, how frequently I was like dipping into that kind of stuff, or how much the occasional sugary mint or the sugary piece of chewing gum or whatever, added. You know, so I really started reading labels. Um, anyway, it took in no time at all. What I was able to do was and I looked at the ketogenic th- things in the store and looked at the labels and everything like that. But I really did a deep dive, and I went really, really strict and cut out everything that wasn't meat, and the only thing I did was maybe poach it in a little bit of water, and occasionally some green herb or something like that. And then when I learned that there were other options moving forward, such as seasonings and flavors and stuff like that that did not add carbs, and then I learned keep my calories below 1,200. Uh, I think 1,500 to 1,200 to 1,500, but uh, they yeah, 1,200 really is what uh, is the low end of that. Well, what I decided as a ketogenic uh, uh, diet is if I can keep it under 800. Now, it is amazing how much food one person can eat in a day. 800 calories when you're making very, very lean choices. That's a lot of food when there's no empty carbs like sugars involved. Uh, and carbohydrates, most of them are cut out. We do need some carbohydrates, but our body will convert uh, starch back into sugar, uh, and we'll burn off, uh, and so just a moderate amount of carbs, really a low amount, not even a moderate amount, is what I went to. So I kept my carbs under 50 uh, grams a day, and most of the time, if I could, I kept it under 10 a day. Like the carbs I would get would be like, hey, there's 1 gram of carb in this serving of unsweet tea, or something like that. I immediately switched because I loved Coca-Cola. I grew up on Coca-Cola. What I did was I switched to Coke Zero, and this was when it was in the black can. With the So it's like, hey, Coke Black, it's badass and everything like that. But then they changed the formula, and I was like, well, that's okay. It's a lighter, less. I felt maybe there was a um, in the Coke Zero. It was like in the black can. It was like, I was getting used to it, and I was gonna make it work and everything like that. But there was a kind of almost a spicy licorice underflavor to it. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. It reminded me of that. Uh, but anyway, what they did was they modified the formula just as I was getting used to it, and same flavor. It just seems a little bit lighter and it's more palatable, and so I enjoy it now. So it's my primary drink, and then if I have coffee, I don't add sugar to the coffee, and if I can get away with it, I don't add creamer. Like at home, if I'm having coffee, uh, and I only drink like 1 or 2 cups a day. I don't. I don't add creamer. I just pick a coffee that's got like a really good uh, blend, good flavor blend and everything like that. So, and then yeah, so, uh, but more than the diet. Well, the diet was very important, but then what I really started to do is I really needed to get like less sedentary, and I really needed to get out and active, and so I did, and uh, started to take walks, more frequent walks, and started to utilize the gym more, and you know, after about a year, after about a year, uh, I dropped my A1C from like 7.8 to 7.9 or something like that, which was not the highest in the world, but it was still, that was, that's enough to do some damage. Even keeping it at that level long term can be problematic. What I did was I got it down to 6.0, and I have another doctor's appointment coming up soon. I don't know. I just call them and find out when they want to do it. I don't know. I think I'm going to just go in when it's time to refill some medications, because my primary does that. And I think I'm just going to go in at that time, and hopefully my A1C will be much lower. Uh, that's what I want to do. Is I want to get. I'm at a 6.0 at the last time they checked. I want to get lower. I want to get below 6 if I can. I feel like if I can get to that 5.4, 5.5, somewhere 5. But if I can get between 5.5 and 5.6 with it, that's the sweet zone. That's like the great zone for people. Uh, I don't, because I'm not even comfortable, like, I mean, it's it's been it's been it took me that long. It took me about a year to get like below uh, and become like basically non-diabetic, like pre-diabetic, but basically those readings were, once you're diabetic, they just say your diabetes is in remission. But in the name of my God, I pretty much claim, hey, yo, it's gone. As long as I do what I'm supposed to do, which is diet and properly take care of my physical health, that to avoid uh, overweightness and obesity, then that's great. Now I feel better at my age, which I'm not going to tell, than I did 10 years ago. Uh, and I feel healthier and look better, and all that. So, uh, yeah. I tell you this. Overall, I've lost about 40 pounds. There's a kind of a 10-pound thing where I kind of go back and forth between 10 pounds uh, here or there, depending upon. But as I do that, I notice that wiggle is getting a little bit lower down the scale. So I'm now weighing in at home on my scale, which there's a margin of error of about 5 to 7 pounds, depending upon. But yeah, I'm weighing in just under 130, uh, which is good. Which is you know uh, yeah. My my it's I have a very very, I mean, I'm not super short, but I'm not tall. But yeah, I have a smaller skeletal system, so weighing less looks better on me. Also, I have a better physique than I did uh, a few years ago. So and I'm not a yo-yo dieter. I'm really not. There are some people who I've known, and it's like, they'll put that 50, 60 pounds on, and then they'll take it off, and then they'll relax, and then they'll put it. I've no. This was the only time in my life a few years ago that I'd ever gotten to be like uh, overweight. Uh, but it had more to do with my. It wasn't anything to do with my metabolism so much. I guess as we get older, our metabolism changes, but this had to do with my lifestyle. I needed to really get my uh, self together in some other areas of my life, and yeah, once I did that, and then I was able to, like, uh, through the empowerment of God, maybe just kind of like get my things together. I live a couple of blocks from a train. Uh, for any YouTube people, people don't really watch my videos, but we're gonna maybe get another blow or two of the train, and then it'll be gone. Uh, so yeah, and then I will say in the last I want to say in the last few months I'm still active, but I've not been at the gym like I should be. As a matter of fact, I went as far as to go to the gym and like downgrade my membership to a basic membership, uh, um, versus that you know uh, advanced stuff. Because I'm not if I'm not there long, But that's because I have some workout stuff at home. And I can take the stair. I live on the eighth floor, so I can take the stairs sometimes. I walk around town. I do really, really great. Uh, there are calisthenics that help, sit ups, push ups, that kind of stuff. So, um, but yeah, I want to get you know a little bit more active in the gym. That's kind of a goal moving forward. And thank God that I'm really not Catholic. I thought about if I were Catholic, if I were going to give something up for Lent, it could be Lent. It could be lethargy, where I would like do some exercises every day for like 40 days in a row. Uh, well, I did that, but it wasn't like concentrated. You know what I mean? If you're at home, if you can, turn some music on, maybe dance around your room a little bit. Uh, get the midsection moving, the hip and the waist, uh, move that, and yeah, it's not results. These are not results that you're going to see instantly, you know. These are not results that you're going to be like, oh, good. But uh, gradually, that's the thing. See, uh, very seldom does a person just fall apart like immediately. I mean, physically, that's a process, and so it's a process to rebuild that. So, and it's I mean, everybody doesn't have to be like like really, really, diamond cut, ripped muscles or anything like that. It's for me, it's more about how I feel, and so that's kind of what I'm talking about. And I want to encourage people uh, to do whatever you can to find a diet that works for you. Ketogenic diet works for me because it just happens to be the foods that I love. I happen to be very carnivorous. I'm sorry for the people who, uh, you know, uh, don't approve of eating meat because, you know, but, you know, I think plants are living also. And I think plants, uh, I have trouble. Maybe, maybe they don't communicate it to us in that way, but I really feel like uh, plants experience trauma when they're being like grabbed and yanked out of the ground, and they're being chopped up and they're still alive. You know what I mean? So, yeah, as a matter of fact, I used to work in a train again. I used to, oh my God. I used to work in yeah. So, I used to work in a store, it was a health food restaurant basically, and it was called Eartherial Living Food. It says right there, living food. This food is still living while we're eating it. It was vegetables and things like that, herbs, or freshly cut and everything like that. So that's if your food is living, uh, then it can certainly have a it senses. It may not be the animal senses, but certainly it has senses. And so yeah, I'm saying this for the judgmental people. I'm starting to judge this train right now. I mean, okay. My window's up and blowing. Otherwise, it wouldn't be like that loud in my apartment because it really is like a block and a half over. But I feel like they need to teach those conductors how to blow horns appropriately. You only need to blow it 2 or 3 times. You don't need to have those long, foghorn type blast of stuff. So just like honk, honk, honk. Yeah, do that. Blow it 2 or 3 times. Uh, but this is going through a downtown area, so it's probably having to do that every time it goes through a yeah. But it's so weird because it actually we can't get to it on because it's blocked off. So this road out front does not go over the tracks. Then there's an underpass here, so there's no road that goes over the tracks, and then Lake Street down at the other end is blocked off. So it's actually blowing when there's no traffic. These you know what I mean? It's like I think they did that. They blocked those roads off so the trains would not have to blow to disturb businesses, but the trains don't know it and they still blow. So I don't know. There's it's stupid if they're gonna, but they're so busy. There's so much traffic that it would be impractical to have traffic going over there because for some reason, yeah, I don't know. There, there's the Louisiana Road, Louisiana Avenue. Uh, if they opened it, could go over the train track, but the traffic for the train traffic is so frequent, it would be impractical to have it, and the same for Lake Street. So, uh, yeah, so I don't know. Anyway, I sure do bird walk. Okay, so sum things up. I've talked about Easter, happy Easter. I've talked about resting, because even when you play hard, you need to kind of rest up so you can go back to play. And then I've talked about what I wanted to do as far as my type 2 diabetes. I want to keep it uh, uh, 6.0 and maybe get below that number coming up. Uh, get back into the gym, even though I do have physical activity. Uh, but there's just something about going through the effort to actually get from where I live to the gym that makes me just push harder. And then what do I want to do? I'll continue my diet, uh, you know, uh, low carbs, and yeah, just maintain a healthy lifestyle about that, and a healthy social environment too. Um, the people that I socialize with, make sure that I'm healthy for for their emotional well-being and that they're healthy for mine. And try to look at life holistically, but not overthink it. And then look at this beautiful view out there. A little bit of a glow from the bridge. There's some LED lights on that casino. I love it. I love it. I have some pretty good window views of my cityscape, which is great. As much as I would love to be able to live in a great big giant city, Chicago, New York, uh, even the central business district down in New Orleans or Miami. I've lived in Miami before. I would love to live in those places and really, really just thrive on that type of energy. But of course, my home is Shreveport, and my family's here, and I love my family, so I kind of want to stay close to some of them. So, yeah, I've gone on. See, I can just talk about random shit. uh, yeah, I'm gonna get back to my dinner. It's time for me to go stir my slow cooking. I'm trying not to scrub my nose; is itchy right there. So anyway, I'm gonna go stir up my dinner. My dinner that I had tonight, I took a pork loin, cubed it up. Like maybe it's like a quarter of a pork loin. The pork loins are long, so this is probably a quarter of one, and cubed it up and put it in basically just a little bit of flour, a little bit of margarine, a little bit of olive oil because they kind of like balance each other out. Like the margarine won't brown nearly as much if there's a little bit of olive oil or vegetable oil in the pan to block it. And then added my favorite green herbs, a lot of garlic, uh, a little bit of onion powder, and kind of like stirred that around. Put in some beef broth. I know I could have used chicken broth, but I didn't have chicken broth on hand. I had beef broth, but I was going to turn around and put some, it makes it a little bit browner, but I was going to turn around and add a dash or two of Kitchen Bouquet, which is a great browning sauce that is a reduction of the aromatic flavors, such as carrots, celeries, onions, and everything like that. It's those juices really, really reduced and added, and it's caramelized, and there's probably a bit of splash of salt added to it or whatever. I'd be surprised, you know. But typically I try to not add too much salt. As a matter of fact, I did not put any like raw salt in this, and then I like stir fried it in a wok, and so yeah, and then I'm just like slow cooking it, so it's gonna be delicious, and I will not eat it again. I will not eat it until after midnight because I do have a like when I get later in the evening like this, I don't just eat for the sake of eating, and I uh, push through until midnight. I have a calorie count that starts over at midnight, uh, and even when I'm below those calories, uh, I can drink all the water I want. If I want some non-sugary drinks, I can drink as much as I want. Uh, but after a certain 6 or 7 o'clock, randomish or whatever, you know what I mean. If I hadn't had dinner, then I just kind of, yeah, I really wait till after the midnight, which I'm kind of nocturnal anyway. So that's why my calories start over at midnight. Uh, and that's, these little bitty things that we do for ourselves. Yours may be different. If you're a day walker, then it might be that you say that your calorie count starts over when you wake up at 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. or something like that. Uh, um, the only reason I would have a meal at midnight is because I tend to be nocturnal, and my bedtime is around 3 or 4 a.m. Uh, you know, some people just don't sleep at night. I get plenty of sleep in the daytime, and I get, you know, I'm well rested and everything. That's just, whatever. And I'm not doing it to be antisocial or anti-establishment or anything like that. That's just the way that my biorhythms work. I've been that way since I was a kid. That's probably one of the reasons why I had such trouble adjusting to school life when I was younger. And the only thing they would have been able to do would have been probably to dope me up with medication. But that, I honestly think, sometimes what people need to do is, I think a big metro area works for me because there's a nightlife that's accommodating. Uh, but small town and everything like that, there's not really a nightlife, and so there's no real way to take the fewer of us who basically live at night and build a little society, a night society around that. But in a big city, there's an entire like world that happens at night that people exist in and talk in and everything. So yeah, and break up this little hair loft there. I didn't even do anything with my hair. I didn't comb it, curl it, or anything like that. It's very thin, so I just kind of do the comb over thing. But every once in a while, I'll get like super stylized with it. Last night it was great uh, because I had it like kind of like pompadoured and pulled forward, and kind of twizzled and everything. It was great. So anyway, yeah, I'm CJ Miller. I'm in Shreveport, Louisiana. I think this is probably the most I've talked about myself uh, in one of these videos. I just kind of wanted to kind of introduce a little bit of myself and what I'm about because I do love uh, Shreveport, Louisiana, neighboring city of Bossier City, and our little area, our combined metro area. And I'm always talking about it, the things that do here and everything like that. And I don't really think I've just done like a proper introduction of myself. Even though I've walked around and I'm like, look at all my LED lights and stuff, you know. So that's kind of maybe what I wanted. I guess that's what it turned out. I think I started talking, I didn't know what I was going to talk about. And then here we go. And then, yeah, where are we? Okay, just almost 30 minutes. So talking about myself. I love you guys. Bye.